The boy walked onto the stage with his head slightly lowered, his shoulders carrying the weight of a life far heavier than his age. The audience noticed his shoes first, worn out, with torn soles and frayed laces that barely held together. Some whispered, some looked on with pity, but most were curious. What could this boy, dressed in clothes too big for him and shoes too broken to hide, possibly have to offer in front of thousands of people and the bright eyes of the judges? The silence that filled the room was thick with doubt, but within seconds it would turn into something unforgettable. The boy introduced himself softly, his voice almost swallowed by the microphone. He said he lived with his grandmother in a small neighborhood on the outskirts of town. His parents were gone, life had been unkind, and music was the only friend that never left his side. For a moment, one of the judges leaned forward, sensing the story behind his shy smile. Then came the question that cut through the air: "What are you going to sing for us today?" With courage that seemed to come from deep within, the boy answered, "Shape of My Heart." As the music began, the boy closed his eyes and took a deep breath. The first note that escaped his lips silenced every doubt in the room. His voice was not just beautiful, it was raw, filled with cracks of pain and shades of hope. Each lyric carried a weight, as if he was telling his own story through the song. His voice trembled at first, but then it soared, strong and steady, breaking through the silence and touching everyone who listened. The audience leaned in closer, captivated. Judges who had seen thousands of performers found themselves fighting back tears. It wasn't just a song, it was his heart laid bare in front of the world. The challenges that led him here were etched in every note. He had grown up with very little. There were nights when hunger was louder than the music he hummed to himself. His grandmother, frail and working odd jobs, had always encouraged him to sing because she knew his voice was a gift that could not be taken away. At school, the other children mocked his clothes, his shoes, and the way he carried himself. He often sang in secret, on the rooftop of their small house, where no one could laugh at him. But here, on this stage, there was no place to hide. Midway through the performance, something extraordinary happened. The boy opened his eyes, and with newfound confidence, he lifted his gaze to the audience. The room was silent, not out of boredom but because no one wanted to miss a second of this fragile, powerful moment. His voice grew stronger, his emotion spilling out like a flood. The song became more than music, it became a cry for recognition, a reminder that greatness can rise from the most broken places. By the time he reached the final note, the entire hall stood on its feet. Applause thundered through the room, not just for his talent, but for the courage it took to stand there with broken shoes and a whole heart. The judges looked at each other, their eyes wet with tears, before one of them reached out and slammed the golden buzzer. The confetti rained down, and the boy stood there stunned, his hands trembling as he looked around in disbelief. For the first time in his life, he wasn't invisible. For the first time, the world saw him. The boy's journey didn't end on that stage. The golden buzzer was not just a ticket to the next round, it was a symbol that his hardships did not define him, his voice did. In the weeks that followed, he gained recognition, but more importantly, he gained hope. His grandmother watched proudly from the front row during every performance, tears streaming down her face, knowing her belief in him was never wasted. The boy with broken shoes showed the world that talent doesn't come dressed in perfection, and dreams don't need polished paths to reach their destination. His story became a reminder that no matter how torn your shoes are, or how heavy your struggles feel, there is always a stage waiting for you, if only you dare to step onto it. By the end of his journey, his message was clear: greatness is not about what you wear, where you come from, or what you've lost, it's about the courage to stand, sing, and let the world hear the shape of your heart.